Shade Cult, a podcast macabre.
We bid you welcome, enter freely and of your own will.
I'm Nick Grimm.
And I'm David Graves.
We will be your horror hosts for this dissection of Kathryn Bigelow's 1987 revisionist Western vampire thriller, Near Dark.
Good evening. I was totally prepared for this to suck.
Oh, were you really?
Yeah.
Oh, so why? Because this is a pretty beloved vampire movie. This is always comes up in the same breath as Lost Boys. They're kind of conjoined
Well, they
twins.
were released in the same year.
Yeah, within months of each other.
Yeah, well, I was prepared for it to suck because the picture on the, like the cover or whatever is kind of lame. It's hard to read.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look, none of the advertising, none of the trailer stuff looks polished and nice like Lost Boys.
Yeah.
There's no Kiefer Sutherland.
Yes, and this movie came out a couple months after Lost Boys and was completely overshadowed by Lost Boys, which had a lot more money behind it and was promoted much more heavily.
Yeah, this was made for only $5 million, which is nothing, but it didn't even make back its $5 million.
Yeah, it's one of these. It's a grower, not a shower, right? It caught on VHS after the fact.
Yeah, and when you think of it in the same breath as Lost Boys, or even some of the other ones in that era, like Once Bitten or Vamp or whatever, the other movies are more romantic vampire movies that are or playful, cheeky something. This was trying to be a horror movie.
Yeah.
And
it's grim. It's a pretty grim movie. They
wanted to make so Kathryn Bigelow wanted to make a Western movie, but they couldn't get funding for a Western movie. And so her and Eric Red basically were able to get financing if it was a vampire Western movie.
Yeah.
And so there you have it. I mean,
and it is really interesting if you think about it, where she wants to do like a Peckinpah style revisionist Western. All of the tropes are there. There's a horseback, like shootouts. It has all of the hallmarks of a Western, just with vampires.
Yeah, but I mean, it also has a lot of driving scenes. Like half the movies the movie happens in a car.
Yeah.
So like it's not super Western.
Yeah.
It's modern Western. I don't know. It's
neo-Western. Yeah.
I like it. I will say, like, I was prepared for this to suck, and I think I was pleasantly upset that it didn't suck, and so that's pretty cool.
That's pleasantly upset. That's funny. Yeah. So this movie, we've had it kind of on the agenda for a long time, but it's elusive. It's out of print currently and
unstreamable.
It goes in and out of streaming. Like, I had checked a few months back and AMC had it streaming, and I thought it was still going to be there, and then it wasn't there anymore. So luckily one of your bandmates came through with a file to share for us. So thanks Marty for hooking us up.
Sometimes knowing hoarders is good.
Yeah, for sure.
I myself am not a hoarder. I mean, maybe a little bit, but not a lot. Mostly instruments.
In your room full of music equipment.
Yeah, that's true. I'm an instrument hoarder. I'm not a data hoarder.
Yeah.
Like some people just have terabytes and terabytes of bullshit.
It's true. And then that comes in handy.
It comes in handy because it has like every vampire movie that we can think of.
We need this obscure cult classic. And it's like, yeah, I got that. I've got all of the vampire movies from the 1980s.
Yeah, I was looking through the files and I was like, man, there's so many movies in here I want to watch that I haven't seen.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So I had never seen this movie. But it, like I said, it's been on the radar for a while. And the band Calabrese that I've talked about frequently, they're huge on this movie. Like it's a big part of their band identity.
Interesting.
To the point that Davey Calabrese, he has a clothing brand and a little shop in Arizona called Near Dark.
Huh. I mean, that's pretty cool if you're going to hang your hat on something.
Yeah. And it's a little more obscure, a little more culty than Lost Boys. And I was thinking about when you compare it to Lost Boys, one of your big complaints about that movie is like the Goonies aspect of it.
It's a kid's movie. I don't like that.
Yes. This is not. This is like Lost Boys without the Goonies part.
Exactly. Yeah, I really like that. I mean, there's a lot of things to like about this movie, so I'm really looking forward to this dissection because I thought this might have been just one of those throwaway cult classics. Like you've had us watch a couple of them through the years.
That you just didn't
were like,
land for
holy
you.
crap, this is obscure for a reason. But no, this one's good. And I mean, Kathryn Bigelow is kind of a big deal at this point.
Yeah, first woman to win an Academy Award for Best Director,
and this is her first solo directorial debut. You know, this is important movie.
It is, and I mean, it's so weird that it's not in print. Like they did, I think, one Blu-ray release in the early 2000s, and then it's not been re-released.
And I mean, I just want to put this out into the ether. I will pay for shit rather than battle and scrounge. I don't like to scrounge. I like things to be easy. Like if I could just buy this on Amazon or rent it for $4 or whatever, you got my money. It's just that easy.
It seems weird, like one of those culty companies like Arrow Media or whatever that puts out really cool Blu-rays with special features and stuff. Oh, why have you not done a Near Dark yet? Like, what's going on? So, yes, put this back in print. It's worth it.
And I was going to say, like, I really like that the 80s was just filled with vampire movies.
Yeah.
I feel like we could do like 10 episodes of all 80s vampire movies and not really have many stinkers.
And cover a lot of tonal ground and stuff like that movie you talked about. Once Bitten is a straight up like romantic comedy. Like it's a totally different thing than Vamp or The Hunger. You know, like
we might have to throw some of these in and to see how it goes.
Do you bring that up, the 80s vampire thing? Are you aware there was not a study, but there was something I read a while back that kind of tracked by presidential administration the rise of either vampires or zombies.
Oh, wow.
And so essentially vampires are on top in Republican
years. Bloodsuckers, money thieves.
Exactly. And the zombies are during Democrats.
Sheeple.
Yeah. It is like it gets down to like what the people of the time fear the most. Yeah. And so Republicans fear parasites that feed off of the living, and then the Democrats fear zombies, like people that don't think for themselves.
Yeah, that's really cool, really interesting.
Yeah, so that's why you had in the Obama years, you had The Walking Dead and stuff like that. And then in the Reagan years, we just had there was some zombie movies, but there was a lot of vampire movies.
Yeah, I think if in a world of vampires and zombies, just be a werewolf.
Yeah. Yeah, that's Switzerland. Yes, you're not part of that dynamic. Yeah.
All right, so you want to roll for initiative and get into some dark tidings?
Let's do it.
I got a 20. Heck
Ooh,
yeah.
Yes. You go first.
I don't get many of these. So I just got a couple of stories here that aren't, I wouldn't call them like huge news, but kind of cool. First one is coming up on April 8th. There's going to be a total solar eclipse.
Ooh.
This is going all the way across North America. It's kind of coming in over the northeast and then going in a southwesterly direction and then down through Mexico. The very best viewing locations are going to be like Kansas, Texas, all that kind of thing for the complete blackout. We'll get a nice eclipse here on the West Coast where we see a sliver, a halo on one side or whatever. It won't be as perfect. But that's going to be April 8th, and it's roughly 11 a.m. on the West Coast. Okay. So it's going to be about a week after this comes out on a Monday. And it's going to be pretty cool. This is going to be, I was reading about it, like I was reading on the NASA website and stuff. This is going to be kind of the biggest solar eclipse event within the most true solar eclipse in the Americas for the next several decades, many decades, yeah.
Because we had one, 10 years ago?
I think it was like 2017, 2018.
Okay.
I remember
not
where I was.
Remotely 10 years ago.
Yeah, I remember where I was living, and that seems about right. But it wasn't a total eclipse. And it was happening during the gorge fires, so it was all smoky and crazy.
Okay, yeah.
It was like a red sun almost. It was like weird. But yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, eclipses are cool.
And that's very vampire-ish.
Yeah, that's a vampire, play day.
So what do you got for us?
I've got a couple of pieces of movie news, just little announcements that I thought were interesting. Anthony Hopkins has signed on to star as the titular Dr. Moreau in Timothy Woodward Jr.'s adaptation of the H.G. Wells novel, The Island of Dr. Moreau. So this is, well-trod territory because the original novel...
There's been a few of them.
Yeah, the novel came out in 1896, and it has been adapted many times. 1932's Island of Lost Souls, 1977's The Island of Dr. Moreau, and then the 96 one with Val Kilmer and Marlon Brando in it. So, but this is, I think a story that remains relevant, decade after decade, and... I'm always down for Anthony Hopkins in this sort of thing. It seems made for him.
Yeah, it's interesting. A lot of these guys who have been leading men and like big, huge names in Hollywood as we've been, growing up and being adults, they're just really old men at this point. Like, he's got to be in his 70s, right?
Maybe 80? I think probably in his 80s, yeah.
Yeah, so I just wonder how long these guys like Anthony Hopkins have for big leading roles like this.
Yeah. Before
they're just sort of like someone's grandpa as a cameo.
Well, it's not the doc. Even though the book and the island and everything is named after him, the Doctor is not the lead of the story because
that's true. It's about the creations or whatever.
And then the people that go, because he sequesters himself on this island where he can do his mad science in peace, and then he's checked up on later, like it's a film crew, and at least in this adaptation, that's going to investigate and see his abominations and whatnot. So yeah, I'm interested to see a modern Dr. Moreau.
I'm not sure I'll go see that one, but I might. Who knows? If it's on like HBO or something.
When it gets to HBO Max, yeah.
So my second one is just, a TV update because who doesn't like those? House of the Dragon Season 2.
Oh, I saw those trailers.
Yeah, it's coming in June, but they released 2 trailers, dueling trailers, they called it, from the perspective of the 2 different sides of the Civil War, the Greens and the Blacks. And I thought it was great. I love the Targaryen dynasty stuff, and I'm super glad that it's all written. It's all plotted out. Like there's going to be no freestyling here. I mean, the details are all freestyled because the House of the Dragon books are just they're just like histories. Yeah. So all of the drama is added, which is fine. TV writers are great for drama.
There was a lot of stuff in Blood and Fire that's alluded to or like is speculated on that gets elaborated on in the TV show and given sort of definitive answers.
So, I mean, pretty much everyone is on the side of the Blacks, right?
I mean,
who would be on the side of like the High Towers and wicked little Aegon?
I don't know. And it's not that I'm not entirely unsympathetic to parts of that side.
He's like a weirdo, though. He's a sick boy.
I don't like him as the king, and he doesn't want to be the king.
Yeah.
In general, I don't like when dragons fight each other. Like so, like
why can't dragons be friends?
Yeah, like I because I'm invested in the Targaryens. This is really the downfall of their dynasty.
Yeah.
They're never as powerful again as they are, before this, and it just bums me out. But it is good drama.
It is. I mean, I'm full on. I'm full on the side of the
Team
Blacks.
Black, yeah, for sure.
There's no way it can go any other way. So
yeah, but it's costly, man. It's tragedies abound.
Yeah, I mean the whole series is just a series of tragedies.
It's all tragedy. Yeah, basically. That's true.
All tragedies. All right,
if everything is either comedy or tragedy, I mean, it's tragedy.
Yeah,
that's just what it is.
So what else you got?
So my other movie news is Joe Dante, director of Gremlins, The Burbs, The Howling, lots of stuff that we love from the 1980s, is signed on to direct a reimagining of The Little Shop of Horrors. I like the musical Little Shop of Horrors. I like the original black and white B movie Roger Corman Little Shop of Horrors. I'm not into this constant remakes, even though both of my news stories are
what I was
remakes.
gonna say. I don't like remakes.
But I am into Joe Dante. I rewatched The Burbs the other night, and that's just a good movie. He's a good director and a good tonal fit for this subject matter. So I'm cautiously on board with this.
Okay. Well, I mean, I don't know. I probably won't see this because I hate remakes. I mean, okay, I can't really say that. Like, if they did a remake of something that I liked a lot, I would watch it. But
like, you're all stoked for the Highlander remake.
Yeah, that's going to be rad. I mean, but a Little Shop of Horrors, nah, not so much.
Okay. Well, we'll see. I have faith in Joe Dante, so I think this should be an interesting one. But speaking of that, did you watch the Crow trailer? Because we've never talked about that.
Yeah.
What do you think about the Crow trailer?
I don't like the way he looks.
I don't either. I get it. I do get it.
They're trying to modernize it, but don't modernize it.
That's the thing. And I feel like Bill Skarsgård is such perfect casting. He looks like physically looks the part, and then
of the comic book version
of the comic book version, and if he had like the sort of spiky goth mullet, like the Simon Gallup hair and the makeup, like Bill Skarsgård is the perfect dude for it, but they did this whole Lil Peep thing.
Yeah, they did him dirty like Jared Leto's Joker.
Yeah, and I just have this instant negative reaction when I see it, and I was like, the Crow shouldn't have tattoos.
No,
like not even just that I don't like the stylistic choice of the tattoos. Like, he just shouldn't have any tattoos. Like, even if he had cooler tattoos, in my opinion, I still wouldn't like it.
You really are reluctant to say that something is lame, but that shit is lame.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
those tattoos suck. Anybody that has them, I've never met one that wasn't a douche. I mean, they did him dirty like Jared Leto's Joker, and that Joker sucked.
That's true.
And
probably the worst Joker.
Yeah, worst Joker easily. And it's sad because I love the Crow. I have the Crow comic omnibus thing up on my shelf.
When they cast him, I was like, that's the guy. That's the right guy.
Is it possible that it could still be good?
I mean, I would actually, if it wasn't Eric and Shelley, I would feel completely differently about this.
Yeah, if it was like a different Crow story.
Yeah, and I would think, well, this looks cool, like a modern Crow, and I can accept that. But because it's...
Is he going to be like a failed mumble rapper or some shit rather than a rock singer?
Signs point to... Yeah, I mean, no, I'm not. I wasn't moved by it. I was very much looking forward to this, and then I saw the pictures, and then I saw the trailer, and I'm just not. I'm not happy.
Yeah, I can't believe like James O'Barr let this happen.
I mean,
does he just not have any power?
I don't.
Or just needs the money?
I think this is far from the worst thing that's been done with The Crow.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. He's pretty much let it all go down.
Yeah, and it's, when you buy the rights to something, you just get to do what you want.
That's true. That's true.
So, I'm sure this is going to be better than the one with Eddie Furlong.
Yeah, oh God. Well, and Alex Proyas, he said straight up, he said this should not be being made. Mm-hmm. This shouldn't be Eric and Shelley. Yeah. This was, this was Brandon Lee's, his legacy. Mm-hmm. Tell a different story. Yeah. Don't do it.
And several people involved with the original have said similar things. Like this, it should not be being messed with.
It was good. It's a 5-star movie, the first one.
I don't quite think so, but but it is a classic. I give you that is a classic film, and and I don't love the look of this. I was pretty disappointed, but I'm still trying to be open minded about it.
Yeah, I wanted it to be good, but when I saw that, I was like, not for me.
No. But let's take a little moment to think about that a little bit more, because the specter of Kurt Cobain was sort of there in the air with the first one. It came out very shortly after he died, and there's a grunge aesthetic to that movie. Like, it's not 80s goth. It's a 90s. It's a
goth.
very 90s style.
Yeah,
and so it does logically make total sense to try and do that now with like a Little Peep sort of thing, like something that feels relevant to kids, as just like that movie felt very relevant to us in the era that we saw it in. So
Sure.
I get that, like why you would want to do that. It's better probably to appeal to young people than it is to us.
We have money. They don't.
Yeah, but in the long run, we made the original
that's
classical
true.
because as teenagers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So appealing to the current generation is how you're going to make something that lasts.
That's true. It's very true. Like, I feel like the new Dune movies are really not made for us either.
Yeah, they're for the younger generation, for sure.
And that's fine. I can appreciate it. I hope that this Crow movie is good. I'm going to wait for the reviews. I was an automatic on the hook for it. Mm-hmm. Now I'm going to wait for reviews. Yeah. And then if the reviews come back good, I will, I want to know what Kevin Smith thinks.
Kevin Smith likes everything.
Oh, that's true. He does.
Yeah,
He's
you need a more discerning critic.
Yeah, so I want to hear the reviews, and then once I hear the reviews, I'll come back and decide whether I'm going to go and spend my $20 or whatever it costs to go to the theaters these days.
I'm on the same. I agree with that. Yeah.
All right, so let's go ahead and take a short break. We'll come back with this dissection of Near Dark.
A young cowboy meets a beautiful drifter and gets more than he bargained for when she draws him into her chaotic family of vagabond vampires.
It's a simple-ass plot.
It is, yeah. It's very simple. You already mentioned written by Kathryn Bigelow and Eric Red. They wrote 2 screenplays together with the understanding she was going to direct this one and he was going to direct the other one. Ultimately, that it took a lot longer for the other one to get made. It didn't come out till 1997, but
what was it?
It was called Undertow.
Okay.
And it had what's his name? The guy from La Bamba.
No idea.
Yeah, I'm trying. Young Guns. You know who?
Lou Diamond Phillips?
Yes, Lou Diamond Phillips was in it.
Got me with Young Guns. I love that stuff right there. Yeah, so this one is interesting. A lot of the decisions that they made were the story. The story is very simple. It's they meet. She makes him a vampire, or she bites him. Yeah, there's more to it, I guess. And
this is very much you get bit, and if you don't die, you turn into a vampire universe. It's that simplified form of vampirism.
Yeah, there's a lot of really dated dialogue and things that happen that you wouldn't do it. You wouldn't see that in a modern day thing. He's driving her home and he stops the car and he's like, "I'm not driving any further till you give me a kiss." It's come on, guy.
Yeah,
you can't do that when you have the power. You just look like an asshole.
It's true, but I don't. You know why I think he gets away with it on account of you never once think that he has the power in that whole scenario. Even when he takes her to go see his horse and he lassos her and she pulls on the rope and he's like, "You're strong," and she's like, "Stronger than you," and it's this kid's in trouble from the moment he lays eyes on her.
Yeah, he's basically fucked.
Yeah. And, it's interesting to see this reversed, right? The sort of the reluctant female vampire who's, she's out there honey trapping, essentially trying to get some guy to feed on, and then just gets so charmed by this bumpkin young man.
She got honey trapped.
Yeah, and she got reverse honey trapped. And then she makes the very terrible decision, I'll make him into a vampire, and then I get to keep him forever.
Yeah.
It's I thought about when he gets pulled into that RV and you get a look at our little vampire family.
Yes.
I just thought like, oh no, getting like turned by white trash vampires is such a nightmare. Like, it's not like the Cullens in their beautiful modernist house out in the Pacific Northwest. It's like, these are dirt vampires that are in a shitty RV with blacked out windows. They're not who you want to get turned by.
It is. I mean, not to just like talk like the worst trash of like the worst stereotypes of all time, but I mean, the leader of the gang is a former Confederate soldier. He's a loser from the get-go.
Yeah, it is the worst vampires you could possibly be turned by.
Yeah, and like I can't separate all the vampire role playing I've done throughout the years. This is a Sabbat pack. Like straight up.
Yeah.
They're just a nomadic Sabbat pack of shitters.
It is. Yeah, it's they're great but awful.
Oh man, I was like instantly loving Bill Paxton's character. He's just so
Severin,
good.
He's great.
He's just amazing.
Yes, and he's the punk rock guy. Like, he's I think more just even just in the movies are so close together. He's why this gets tied to Lost Boys, probably because he has that same vibe.
Leather jacket,
like
he
could easily be partying with those guys and probably having a better time. Like they have a better layer.
In my head canon, they probably have partied at some point.
Yeah, just on the road. Yeah, they would have to cross paths. They're definitely operating in the same time period,
and they have the same kind of like methods. They go to a public place. Yeah, they like find some people, harangue them,
fights, and kill the people when they fight you. It's really interesting. I think Kathryn Bigelow, like we said earlier, this is her first solo directing job, and she's got an eye right from the start. Like, it's not a polished, like a super polished film, but you can tell like this is an interesting director already.
It's gritty, just like the vampires. Yeah, like the movie feels it feels lived in. It feels it feels used. Nothing feels fresh, but in a good way.
Yeah, totally. And I think being a woman director, there's an interesting sort of female gaze to this movie that I'm not used to seeing in these movies. Yeah. Like, our cowboy Caleb, he's reluctant to go out and kill. I'm sort of like was it Michael in Lost Boys? And so
they're kind of the same dude.
Yeah, very much. But this one likes girls. Michael had only eyes for David.
Hey, who didn't?
Yeah, I know. He's pretty. David is quite a looker. But when May is like, she's feeding him, it's always very sexual. Like in this way. Like, there's a scene that I think it's the second time that she's feeding him from her wrist, and they're in like an oil field with the big oil pumps going behind it, and he's like kneeling in front of her, and she's holding her wrist kind of between her legs, and so it's very sexual, like the way it's portrayed.
It really is.
It's a powerful woman sexuality. Like, it's just not. Usually vampires are the other way around. Yeah. And so I was like, well, this is when a woman director does it. It's different.
What?
They see the world different.
That's crazy.
It is. It's wild. More women should direct movies.
If only they wanted to.
I know. I don't understand why they're so happy just staying in the kitchen. They could be out making interesting art.
Wearing shoes.
And long pants.
Of course, this is really a different vibe, and I was here for it. Like, immediately when it started off at the the first scene when you see May come out of the convenience store and there's the hillbillies like looking at her and stuff.
Yeah.
They seemed pathetic.
Yeah.
And May seemed badass. Like just the way that it was set up.
Yeah. She always seems she's vulnerable, but she's powerful.
And I guess they struck that vampire math just right.
Yeah. So thematically, the movie's obviously about drug addiction, like and it would work if this was about meth and not blood. The movie still works completely. Like you could swap it out. And he meets this beautiful girl and gets hooked on drugs.
And Lance Henriksen is the dealer.
Exactly.
For the whole group.
And they're out doing crimes to do their drug addiction. And the whole movie still works perfectly. And that's just tight storytelling. Like, it's a really good, like we say simple, but when it comes to like a screenplay like this, simple is good. It should be simple.
Sometimes, I mean, some plots are, you have the Machiavellian plots, but sometimes the best plots are the journey A to B, and the stuff that happens along the way is the story.
Yeah, and it's just real tight storytelling. Everything, it's all just sort of like set up and payoff constantly. Like right at the very beginning, there's the thing with the mosquito lands on him and he slaps it and he says bloodsucker. and like, that's a good tonal start to your vampire movie.
Yeah.
The stuff with the tweaker truck driver teaching him how to drive the truck.
Yeah. And then it came back.
And importantly telling him how to make the truck jackknife.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, oh, he's going to jackknife a truck later. Like, I can see them laying the track as the train is rolling along.
Yeah, when they were talking about that, when he's talking about, oh, yeah, you got to hit the trailer brakes first or the truck will jackknife, I was like, okay, they wouldn't be spending the time on this.
To teach us about how the truck works? Yeah.
If this wasn't going to happen. And so it's good that it paid off. It made it feel, like when a comedian does a good callback.
Exactly. Like, when it's, sometimes this stuff feels like you're getting hit over the head, and then sometimes it feels like the way when a song resolves pleasantly, and you're like, they just orchestrated this so well. And this movie, I felt like that. I feel bad for that truck driver, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, he seemed like he was taking a lot of time with these kids, and
he's a nice dude.
Yeah, I mean, he was out of his mind on speed, but that's not a moral judgment. Yeah, you got to do what you got to do to hit your times. Yeah,
I mean, there were a few themes, or I guess I would call them tropes that happen in here that are very typically 80s. Because in 80s movies, every time a cop shows up, especially if he's chubby, he's pretty much a complete cocksucker.
Yeah.
Like, in a bad way.
The cops in this movie are all awful, which I appreciate.
Yeah, they're just terrible. Just a complete shitheel. And I was just like, well, I guess they got something right, because this is very 80s. Like, I've been pulled over in the South looking like a D-gen, and cops did not treat me well.
Yeah. Yeah, that you talked about the detective at the bus station. Also, the small town cop when the dad's trying to get them to investigate.
She's like crap.
Yeah, just like, yeah, you're gonna have to be patient with me. Like, he breaks eye contact with them to pour himself a cup of coffee. You know what I mean? Like, it just is just body language, like blasting out, "I'm indifferent to your plight, and I'm not going to help you." Like, just boof, boof, boof.
Yeah, for sure.
And so, yeah, the cops are awful. And that helps because you do sort of root for the bad guys through most of the movie.
Especially near the end when there's the big shootout between the cops and the vampires. I was rooting for the vampires the whole time.
Yeah, because they're the underdogs in this situation. Yeah. Like, they're trying to stay out of the sun, and that's such a good scene because, like, it's very complicated with the
bullets and then the sun
going
rays.
Through, and then where they burst into flame wherever the sun touches them. Yeah. Like, that's a complicated choreography, and they pull it off really well.
Yeah, it was really good. So while we're talking about getting into like visuals, cinematography, and all of that, one of the things I noticed right off in this movie was it had extreme extremely good B-roll.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot of movies do that well. I mean, some of them do it pretty well. But
you mean like the long shots of the cars driving?
Yeah, long shots, far, like shot of the mountains, the sun setting, the sun rising. It wasn't just the same shot. It was all different, and it was in different landscapes. We got to see a lot of different places. Like when they would pull up on a place like that shitty hotel, and you get a wide angle view of the whole thing from afar, and just the kind of the way that they set the scene with really good camera work and the way that she would cut those together, it made the movie feel bigger and a lot more expensive.
And so part of that is Kathryn Bigelow's extensive storyboarding. Like she comes from a visual arts background, and she did really great storyboards. And then the other half of that is cinematographer Adam Greenberg, who shot The Terminator and
he's got chops.
Many other movies. And he was the go-to dude after The Terminator. He was the guy everyone wanted to shoot their noir sort of movies. And he picked this movie out of many projects because this was the one that kind of turned his crank creatively.
Hell yeah, dude.
They really sing together, Bigelow and Greenberg. Like, they really are a good match.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool. And another thing I liked about the visuals of this movie was it felt like, aside from the year of the cars and the fact that nobody has a cell phone, this movie could have happened now. Like, if you go to the rural anywhere, like Eastern Washington, Idaho, you go to Montana, any of these places, it looks just like that. The people still dress exactly like that. Like, nothing has changed.
And so I think the whole thing is filmed in Arizona pretty much, with a little bit in California. It takes place
in like Kansas,
Wyoming, Oklahoma, and Texas, I think was kind of what they described. And they give you that sense of traveling, even though we're probably not ever going more than like 25 miles from location to location.
Yeah.
But you're right. Like the Southwest desert, those hotels or shitty motels like that.
They still look like that.
They still look like that. And the same guy still works there.
Yeah. I was like watching the movie and I was like, man, this looks modern. Just the way everything looks. People still look like that.
And everything, like, thematically about it has only gotten worse. You know what I mean? Like the stuff with drugs and the sort of rural decay that has gone on with the opioid crisis and everything.
Yeah.
Like all the thematics of this movie just are even more resonant. Like you can imagine, all along the West Coast, we have all these sort of like homeless encampments and everything. You can imagine looking at some of these zombie RVs out there that there's a pack of feral vampires in one of them easily.
Yeah, we should start just calling them Hoovervilles.
Yeah.
The original Great Depression. Yeah, these are Hoovervilles.
Yes,
straight
they have
up.
Hoovervilles, but they didn't have Winnebagos in the 1930s.
Be a lot better if they did.
That's something about, I don't know what section this really goes under, but it's hard to believe they've lived as long as they've had with how poor their planning is.
Yeah, they suck at planning. They're poor as shit.
Every night they are looking for a new place to stay in the morning. And they're burning vehicles basically
everywhere they go. And why do they have no money ever? Like, they kill people. Why don't they just rob them?
They kill people with a lot of money.
Yeah, but they rolled that whole bar and they didn't steal the money out of the till or out of anybody's wallets.
Not that we saw, yeah.
Yeah, like, you would think that they would be able to, like, have a place.
They have enough money, like, they're paying cash for hotel rooms. So there's probably some things we miss. Like,
yeah,
that
they
we
just gloss over
it all. They don't
all.
show as they go through everyone's pockets. And
that
everything.
was probably Homer's job.
Yeah. Poor Homer. Yeah, Homer is the little kid vampire. I had to check the book Interview with the Vampire came out much before this.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, so probably they're biting a little Anne Rice there.
Oh yeah, I got that like right off when I saw that.
But oh man, little kid vampire always breaks my heart. Like that's just such a fucked up thing to do.
Who would do that? Like who would even think of doing that? I guess Louis.
Louis would, yeah.
Yeah.
Louis was like, this will fix my marriage.
They never really said who Homer's sire was.
So I wasn't really clear on who turned him. I'm assuming it was Diamondback because she seems to want to be his mom. But it wasn't really clear who turned who. Mm-hmm. I was wondering if you had caught that because I didn't really.
I was theorizing it was Diamondback.
Yeah,
because she's the only one that's nice to him.
Yeah,
like everyone else is just like, "Fuck you, Homer."
Yeah. Then there's the, and Homer wants to turn Caleb's sister essentially so that he has a girlfriend. And I was like, "Oh man, that's a bad move. Dude. That's a bad move, dude." Because she's going to hate you forever, for eternity. You're not going to get someone that can love you forever. You're going to get someone that hates you forever and is always plotting to kill you. Mm-hmm. It's like, it's not going to go good when, she's trapped in a little girl's body for all eternity.
Yeah, this is going to be
a lifelong enemy. This is not a girlfriend.
It's a bad movie, or bad move for Homer. I was going to say another thing that I really liked about this movie was, the vampires do not rely heavily on special effects.
No.
Like, they're not doing crazy things, turn into mist, turn into bats, whatever. They don't even have like vampire teeth.
No fangs.
I liked how they didn't need prosthetics. They mostly did this with lighting and excellent performances.
Yes.
That was pretty much all.
And Greenberg, he's a really interesting guy. He has a really interesting lighting philosophy because he doesn't care about realistic light sources at all.
No, I don't think you need to.
Yeah, and he's like, the light is where I put the light. And so, like, whatever makes the character look the coolest is where the light is, and it doesn't matter if it doesn't make rational sense. The audience doesn't care. They just think Lance Henriksen looks fucking terrifying,
Yeah,
it's like,
I fully subscribe to that philosophy. Like, if you watch Fight Club, that is like a perfect example of unnatural lighting that makes a movie look amazing.
Yeah. Honestly, a lot of the time, natural lighting makes things look flat and boring because that's how the real world looks. Mm-hmm. So if you want to create vibe, unnatural lighting does it much better.
Yeah, for sure. I really liked that. And I liked the basic, the way they did the practical effects. Like when Caleb was running through the field and he had smoke coming out of his shirt and stuff, and he has the blanket and all that. I mean, that doesn't seem like a hard effect to do, but it worked. Like, it totally let me know what was happening, and it gave him a big sense of urgency.
They're very combustible vampires.
Oh, yeah. These are weak-ass vampires.
And so the smoke effects are really interesting, how they did that, because the chemicals normally used to create movie smoke are toxic, and you can't use them around children. And they've got child actors. So they had to use tobacco, which is not considered toxic.
What?
Yeah, so they use tobacco. So the actor that plays Caleb, Adrian Pazdar, he said that. So for that scene where he's running, he basically has a bag of lit cigars under his coat with tubes running up to where the smoke is coming from.
Wow.
And then air is being pumped through the cigars so they burn.
Yeah.
And that cigar smoke is coming up. And he said, and he smelled like cigars like for weeks afterwards because you're just soaking in that.
Yeah,
cigar smoke.
You can't scrub that off.
Yeah, but it's just fascinating that tobacco is considered non-toxic, and so you can use it around children, or at least in the 80s you could. I think there's a lot of stuff you couldn't do now. Like, I don't think they could do all these night shoots with a little kid anymore.
They'd have to get twins and have them work different shifts,
or like do it in the day as much as possible.
In
like,
a sound stage.
Yeah, there's a limit to how late you can keep child actors up now, which I don't think there was in the 1980s.
When I was Homer's age, I was playing D&D all
night long. That's by choice. It's not by compulsion.
That's true.
Yeah, so a few more of the visual things. The production designer is Steve Altman, costume designer Joseph Porro, and SFX makeup artists were Derek Howard and Gordon J. Smith. Everyone killed it in this.
Yeah, for sure.
Like the shit kicker bar, that was an entire build out. It was not a real location. very believable redneck dive bar. Like, I would not have guessed that they built that whole thing.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah.
I think that the sets and stuff were really good, and whoever got all their different vehicles, really cool.
Real shitbox vehicles.
Well, I really loved the black Econoline van. That was awesome. Like, I could see wanting one of those.
Yeah, and that's a good one for sleeping in.
Not a lot of windows.
The 50s station wagon was probably the worst one for spending the night
that
in.
big Studebaker or whatever. That was terrible.
And that was really interesting, like how they that was something the actors had kind of drilled on before filming, like how fast can we black out a room, how fast can we black out a car.
I love that they have the tape gun across the windows,
and it's like spray paint, foil, and duct tape. How fast can we black this thing out? And they got really quick at doing it. And these actors, I guess we're kind of probably transitioning into the performance. Or no, we got audio first.
We got to talk about
I'm not
audio.
going to skip over that. They spent a lot of time getting into character and working with each other beforehand, and that all really comes through.
It's always sad to me when you hear about, like how much work they did when a movie bombs.
Yeah.
And you're like, man.
Yeah, but I don't think, because I've listened to a bunch of interviews with all these guys, with Henriksen and Paxton and what's her name, Jeanette Goldstein. They had a blast making this movie with each other, and they all really like each other. So I don't think there was any regrets in the effort they put into it.
I mean, this movie's awesome. So, I mean, maybe awesome's the wrong word, but this movie looks like a fun movie, and the product was really strong. So,
yeah.
All right, so let's talk about audio. First and foremost, it might have just been the file. I felt like the music was just mixed really loud in this thing compared to vocal parts. Like, I feel like the score
was too loud.
It was too in your face.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know, because I listened to the same mix that you did.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that was the file or if that's just how the film is mixed.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan, though, of Tangerine Dream and when they do movie scores. So I did not mind. I love them.
That super synth heavy.
Yeah.
It all feels like old analog synths, and it's like it feels so like the difference between an analog synth and like a modern all digital synth is it just feels almost like bubbly and fat.
Yeah.
It just feels
totally
thick with like 3 C's. It's so good.
Yeah, when I saw that music by Tangerine Dream come up at the beginning, I was like, "Oh yeah, we're in for a treat." This was their 10th score. They're up to 36 scores. I was looking their Wikipedia. They're German electronic band, super prodigious. Like they have over 100 albums.
Jeez, I want to be like that.
Yeah, 36 movie soundtracks. So yeah, Cultists, if you haven't dug into the Tangerine Dream rabbit hole, it's worth checking out. That's a really cool band.
Yeah, I probably say this every time I watch a movie from the 80s or whatever, but I was like, man, this had Twin Peaks vibes. Yeah. Like the music and stuff. It's
it's
really good.
Shitty motels and noir lighting. Like, yeah, there's it's of its era. In the good way.
And I like that era.
I enjoy that era a lot.
The 80s and 90s made some really great films.
It may just be because it was when we were children and we were very impressionable in that era, but I do... the 80s are sort of my happy place in that way.
I never saw this movie, and a lot of the movies that we watch for this podcast and before, I never saw at the time, and I still like them.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing I wanted to know about the sound design specifically is I felt like it was invisible in that it didn't like club you over the head with sound effects.
Yeah.
But there were certain things that really helped. Like, for example, once Caleb is walking on the street and he's being all emo, you can hear his jacket rubbing against the denim, and you can hear the single jingle of one spur.
Yeah.
which you wouldn't be able to that wouldn't have been in your face like that if you're really watching him from 50 feet away walk down a street. But the sound design, adding that in and really making sure that it was notable, I think that was very additive.
Yeah, so David Lewis Udall was the sound designer, and I agree totally. Like in that, that adds to the Western atmosphere. That spur sound is so iconic. Is the reason why, even though he doesn't actually have spurs on, Boba Fett makes a spur sound when he walks.
Yeah, like it has metal boots.
Yeah, it gives you it subconsciously says gunslinger when you hear that. And Caleb has that kind of before the what turns out to be like their big showdown between him and Severin, right?
Yeah,
that's where he wanders out into the town square, like classic Western style, to have it out with the bad hombre.
Yeah, the sound design was really good. It wasn't crazy, but it did exactly what it needed to do. So you want to talk about performances?
Yeah, we've got a lot of people to get through.
So who is your number one in this movie?
My first one on my list is Adrian Pasdar as Caleb Colton.
Yeah, I mean, he was kind of the lead, so it's hard not to talk about him first. It wasn't my favorite performance, but it was a good performance.
It's understated. It's very physical, like he's dope sick through a good chunk of the beginning of the movie. The stuff with him, like trying to get a bus ticket home. He just wants to get home and be with his family. It's all not a ton of dialogue, just physical acting, and he looks fucking awful through that whole thing.
Yeah, I was like, where have I seen this guy? And I was going to say before, but no, after. Like, yeah, he was the senator on Heroes.
Oh, okay. He was also on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
He's done a lot of TV work.
So I was like, I recognize this guy. And yeah, he's a Persian dude, and he's like, pretty good actor with a pretty long resume.
Yeah. Never really broke out as a movie star, but has worked consistently, all these years for, close to 40 years.
Yeah, I think his performance as Caleb was really good, but it wasn't movie star caliber. He wasn't Kiefer Sutherland of this movie. I mean, he was good, but he wasn't great.
Yeah.
Next up, I had Jenny Wright as May.
Yes, I do as well.
I feel, and I actually had this note for Adrian Pasdar as well. I feel like some of the lines, they delivered them in overly melodramatic ways. It felt a little too Breakfast Club, a little too, it didn't feel natural.
Yeah, no, it's not. There's no naturalistic performances in this. I
mean,
think.
Some of them, like, I really think that Lance Hendrickson, a lot of he gives casual sneer and villainy. Like, it's not melodramatic.
That's true.
And I'd say the same thing about Janet Goldstein in Diamondback. Her character does not seem overly dramatic at all. Yeah. It really was just Colton, Caleb, and May that were just like,
well, they're kind
a teeny bopper drama.
They're it's very like romance, like they're almost in a different movie in that regard.
Yeah, the performances don't match anybody. Even Homer was more natural than those two.
Interesting. I don't disagree with you. Lance Henriksen up next.
Amazing. He's a legend.
He's great. And he's a real interesting cat. So he talked about, he dropped a lot of weight for the role, and he looks skeletal. Like he looks very creepy.
Pretty gnarly.
He got acrylic nails put on just on his own dime. He went and did that and then broke them off with a pair of pliers so they would be all gnarly. He sewed the Confederate flag into his coat, and he came up with the whole backstory.
Oh, wow.
And then he road tripped from LA out to Arizona in character, picking up hitchhikers along the way to really get into this character. And
that's awesome.
He really freaked people out on the road. Like, people could not wait to get out of the car after driving with him for a while.
That's pretty cool. I mean, this character was just downright sinister.
Yeah.
I really liked it.
And let's kind of lump them together because they all come from aliens. Lance Henriksen, Bill Paxton, and Jeanette Goldstein. And they were hired independently, but it was purposeful. Like, let's get these people because they already know each other.
Yeah.
And they already know how to work with each other. And Bill Paxton got the script first.
Yeah.
And then he called Lance Henriksen and was like, you need to read this. And then Jeanette Goldstein was approached independently. And then they all kind of came together, hanging out, and kind of were like, I'm doing this movie, and it's like a Western, but it's not a...
Like, you're in Near Dark, too?
Yeah, like, basically, it kind of all came out that they had all gotten hired, and it was really interesting. And they come in with an easy rapport with each other immediately.
For sure.
Because they already just did Aliens.
I mean, Bill Paxton was my favorite performance in this movie. He's just a total freak. And his the scene in the bar, he's just absolutely excellent. He's just crazy. It's just like glorious insanity. I absolutely love it.
And he's ad-libbing a lot of it. And it's so good. Like, because sometimes, like when you're in a bar and there is a loudmouth there and you're not sure, is this going to be a fight or are we going to become best friends? And he totally brings that vibe. Like, the whole room is like, he brings them up to where they're mad, and then he makes them laugh, and he brings them back up, and he's just playing the whole bar. And it's poetry. Like, it's just such a great scene.
Yeah, he does a really good charismatic villain, and he's also does a really good, like, sinister vibe in that final fight. Like, he was just extremely nasty. Like, I love this character. He was just dirty.
And I like how, because we see scenes of all of them feeding, and let's pull in Joshua John Miller as Homer into this too.
Yeah.
Because they all have their own tricks for how they get victims or whatever. And I like how mom and dad, Lance Henriksen and Jeanette Goldstein, they just kind of go out driving and get themselves carjacked.
Yeah.
Which it's a good tactic, and you don't have to feel too bad about people that are obviously trying to do you harm. That's a great way to feed. Homer, on the other hand, pretends to be a little kid that got hit by a car on his bike.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
And ropes in, like, concerned
like
passersby.
Do-gooders.
Yeah, like,
what a scumbag.
Yeah, or Severin, Bill Paxton's character, out hitchhiking and picking up girls. Like,
yes,
he's the good-looking young guy, and it's like, it's just, you get a nice little montage of all their personalities.
I like those little vignettes, the little montage of the different vampires feeding. It was just so fun to watch that. I'm a fan of the genre, you might say.
You are. That's true. It's well known. You like vampire movies. So
I thought the Diamondback and Homer were pretty good. I didn't find their performances to be over the top amazing, but they were all right.
I like, as an ensemble, I think this gang is great.
Yeah, they do pretty well. I don't normally like child actors. Joshua John Miller was not bad. He passed muster. Marcy Leeds as Sarah, also a decent performance for a kid. It was pretty natural. It didn't feel weird and forced like a lot of child actors.
Yeah, she's good, and she holds her own in those scenes, like where she's with the bad guys too, where she's like, "You guys stay up late." Like she felt like a pretty competent little girl, like a lot of like farm girls are. They're mature for their age because they have responsibilities.
Yeah, they take care of business.
Yeah, and then her dad, Tim Thomerson, as Loy Colton. It's another. Thomerson's just veteran character actor. You've seen that guy.
Yeah, so many things. Yeah. It was a solid performance, and he's a good casting. He's a good casting for a dad. He's very believable as a veterinarian.
Yeah. Farm vet. The guy, he drives around and inoculates your cattle and stuff like that.
Just shoves its arm up there.
Yeah,
up their cooch.
Feels the uterus of the cow. Yeah, it's dirty business, but someone's got to do it. Yeah. I mean, I have all the cops and all these people listed, but I don't think we need to talk about.
No, them. They're not notable. They're just also played.
Yeah.
So what was your personal highlight?
It's a real toss-up. We've talked about both of these scenes, and I'm going to go the Shit Kicker Bar Massacre as my personal highlight. I do think it's the sequence in the movie. It's the set piece of the whole movie. It's what the movie's built around.
Yeah.
And it's the thing you remember. It's where all the quotable lines come from, and it is like the way it's set to the music, like when the Cramps kick in, their cover of Fever is playing. And like I said, the way he plays the whole bar and kind of has people on edge and then takes their guard down. And, just stuff like when he pulls Caleb in front of him so he gets punched. And he goes, hit him again. I'm trying to teach the boys something.
And the guy just does it.
And the guy just decks him again. Yeah. That scene's amazing. So I think that's probably my highlight. What about you?
So I have the exact same scene written down. So I'll just, I really liked it, but I'll just call attention to just a moment. It's not even really a scene that I probably should have talked about in the visuals section.
Okay.
I love the section where Caleb is riding the horse down the street. The lighting, there's mist, there's like fog. The light is coming from street lights and it's reflecting up off wet pavement.
Yeah.
It's total like neon cowboy.
Yeah, that's gorgeous.
And the scene just looks so beautiful. It's so well done. The lighting is amazing. The score is amazing. I mean, it's not as cool as the bar scene or even the shootout scene, which is an amazing scene.
The shootout was my other one.
Those are the scenes. Like in this movie, the two big scenes at the bar and the shootout. But I feel like it's worth mentioning that amazing camera work and lighting work. I'll call that one out.
No, I think that's a really good scene. And it's one of those things where you come back to the Western of the story and you're like, oh yeah, this is a cowboy story, and like it just pulls you right back into that. So yeah, that's an awesome one to call out.
So what worked for you?
The cast. I think this cast is just a big ensemble of veteran character actors, and they all get along really great and they all work with each other really well. And it's just a pleasure to watch them together.
Yeah.
The cinematography, we talked about Greenberg. He invented like what they called tech noir with the Terminator. He invented this aesthetic and I don't think anyone does it better than him. Like it's his deal and he does it really well.
Yeah.
And then I like thematically how, like I said, I think this story would still work if you took all the supernatural out of it and made it just a drug story. It would still work.
You could modernize it, make Caleb look like Lil Peep.
Right. I thought he needed an eyebrow tattoo. Yeah, and I think it's just really good, solid storytelling, and you can't overstate the value of solid storytelling. It's just a simple story told really well.
Yeah.
What about you? What worked for you?
So I felt like this was the story was engaging and interesting. It's a simple story, but I was on the hook the whole time. I didn't pull out my phone. I was really enjoying I enjoyed the solid storytelling, just like you said.
You're basically on the hook as soon as he is in the truck with her.
Yeah, as soon as he gets in the truck, I'm like, oh, something's going down. And then really, when you see him running across the field and then the RV goes speeding across the dusty plowed field and grabs him, I was like, oh shit, it's on. Yeah. So yeah, from that point on, I was just like, this is dope. The pacing was super good. I'm such a complainer about pacing in movies.
This is a fast movie.
Yeah, I whine about it all the time. But this movie was the opposite of everything I hate, so I guess that makes it everything I like. It was super quick. The shots, you don't have to explain everything. Yeah. Like the sun's going up. How do you know? We saw the sun coming up. Like they gave us a panorama of the sun coming up, and then we see the vampires are foiling the windows. Yeah. You don't have to talk about it. Just move the fuck on. And so, I mean, I thought that they did a great job with that.
A lot of show don't tell.
Yeah, it was a really, really tight movie. And my last point on the what worked for you was the casting. I mean, the vampire pack was just amazing. I liked all but one.
Yeah.
So what didn't work for you?
You don't like poor May?
We're going to get into that.
Okay. What didn't work for me, I found the human story less compelling than the vampire story.
Oh, yeah.
In that I was never rooting for Caleb's dad to find him.
No.
So much to the fact when they show up, I'm like, oh no, his family. Like I was fully
it's ruining the story.
It is because like he just got accepted by the group, like, and Severin gave him a spur to wear, and like I was like, okay, I'm in this. He's joined their little vampire clan.
Yeah, I wanted more of that.
Yeah, and then the sister shows up, and I was like, oh, yeah, he has a family I don't care about. And so, like, I just felt like that story, even though it's integral, I didn't engage with it. I never was rooting for the dad. And so that's a little bit of a bummer because you kind of need to root for the dad to be invested in that part of things. And then this is just a story nitpick, and it's more it's something I mentioned earlier. I have a hard time believing you survived since the Civil War when you have no plan for where you're going to sleep every morning. And so it's just like, these guys are a little too sloppy to be believable.
Yeah, they're shit vampires.
But it does add drama, and that's not a real criticism.
Sure.
Yeah. What about you? What didn't work for you?
Okay, so I did not buy in the gang. It really didn't feel like Homer made any sense. I did not like the character. I thought that he was literally like just a fifth wheel. I thought the character was bad. He wasn't sympathetic. He was like kind of not to be shitty about it, kind of an ugly little boy. Like, like who makes that guy a vampire? Like he's not even like, I don't know. He's no Claudia.
Yeah, it was a bad moral choice. It was a bad logistic choice.
Yeah,
everything about making that little boy a vampire was a bad move.
Yeah, the actor did a fine job, but I just didn't like the character. And so I'll get to the thing I hate the most. I'll save it for last. Okay. So I did not find that the final climax battle was overly scary or dramatic. I actually thought the shootout was a better climax than the fight with Severin. And
the Terminator fight with the truck?
Mm-hmm. Which should have been cooler. Except
for we've seen it in the Terminator.
Exactly. It was too much. Like it was too Terminator. Like getting hit and climbing up the front and blah, 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 tearing stuff out of the engine. It was just beat for beat. It started cool. Like I liked how they came out like cowboys at high noon and all that.
Yeah.
I felt like the death of the rest of the vampires was fairly anticlimactic. How like mom and dad died in the car, just whatever, like nothing interesting. Like that was a crappy death. But the thing that I thought sucked the most and actually just robbed me of my joy, and made me think this movie is not excellent, was a simple blood transfusion cured them of their vampirism. Give me a fucking break.
I was wondering,
vampirism. Okay, the legends of vampires have been around forever. Transfusions have been around for a long fucking time.
Yeah.
This was the lamest I'm not a vampire anymore story ever. Like, I can't believe they thought that would fly. It was so weak. It was it stole the entire thing.
You're not the only person that feels that way. I've read other reviews that think that.
They literally snatched defeat from the jaws of victory in the last 15 minutes.
Do you feel that way about both Caleb and May, or just May?
Caleb was believable because he'd never killed a person.
He'd never fed.
He'd never fed on any human. He'd only ever drank May's blood.
Yeah.
But May becoming a human after how she said she's very old. She seemed powerful. She's obviously killed several people.
Yeah. We see her kill an innocent person.
May, completely not believable. Caleb, I can get it because there's a lot of vampire legends and lore that you're not a true vampire until you kill someone. You're like a half vampire or whatever. I can get behind all of that. It's all that's all drama. But May, nah, that ruined it.
Okay. I don't know if I go as far as ruined it, but it did stick out to me, like when I thought for sure she was going to die saving the sister, and that was going to be her redemption, right? Like that she would save the little sister.
That would have been way cooler.
And then she would burst into flames just like everyone else did. And she dies redeemed, right? Like she dies heroically. And that is a good romantic, tragic ending. And so the happy ending did throw me.
When I was watching this movie, like when we got to, when we're watching the bar scene and then we get the hotel shootout and then even the showdown between Severin and Caleb, I'm like, I can't believe this movie evaded me. This is so awesome.
Yeah.
It's rad. This is great. How did I not see this movie? And then they're like, oh yeah, give me a transfusion, Dad. Out in the barn, yada yada. Oh my God. I know why it evaded me. Because nobody's talking about this fucking movie. And it was just so why do they have to do that? They wrecked it. They took a really good movie and they made it into like a joke.
Okay.
They robbed the drama. All right. So what's your final thought and rating, or just your rating, whatever?
I was glad to finally watch this movie. I thought it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it, and I've been chewing on it since I watched it. Like it hasn't really left the back of my mind, which is usually that's a big indicator to me of quality. Like if I keep thinking about it instead of it just sort of slipping out. But I've been very on the fence. It's real to me, like a 3.5 star movie.
Yeah.
And I haven't really been like, do I go down to the 3 or up to the 4? And talking over it with you, I'm getting off the fence on the 4 side. Because I think there's just more stuff that I like about it than there's stuff that I don't like about it. So yeah, I think 4 stars.
All right. Well, I was like fully prepared to give this a 4-star. I'm always thinking about what my rating's going to be as I'm watching these movies, and I was like, man, this is a 4-star movie. This is pretty rad. But then the anticlimactic climax and the
fumbled the ball in the end zone.
Yeah, they just dropped it. So it's a 3-star movie in my book.
Okay.
IMDb calls it a 6.9. Rotten Tomato calls it a 83. Metacritic calls it a 78. So it's like 3 3/4 star, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
So we're not far off the base, but I wanted to like it. And once I got into it, at first I was like, I went for a ride with this. I think this is going to suck. Then this is amazing too. Yeah. Nope, it actually wasn't amazing, but it didn't actually suck. But damn,
you just didn't like that ending.
Disappointment.
And it did sit. It doesn't for something that's so tightly written for the most part. That sort of easy ending feels bad. It doesn't.
Give me a transfusion with some pig's blood. Or no, it's his dad's blood.
It was dad blood.
Yeah, give some dad blood. It's magic.
This was probably Caleb's blood.
Yeah,
actually,
he probably yeah.
And that's very it's a very fairy tale ending to a gritty horror movie, which is just weird. It's just a weird choice. Not the choice I would have made, but it doesn't ruin the movie for me.
It didn't ruin it. It's still a 3-star. If you want to watch a campy vampire movie from the 80s with a bad ending, check it out.
What another glowing review. They should put that on the DVD when they re-release it.
Yeah. Nightshade Cult says.
Before we delve into the Vault of Darkness, we ask that all initiates of the cult follow us on your favorite social media platforms at Nightshade Cult.
If you've enjoyed this content, help us grow the cult by sharing it with like-minded people and leave us a review wherever you listen.
Speaking of reviews, Meat Popsicle announced themselves.
Oh.
It was Cultist Lance.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Rad. Well, thanks, Lance.
Yeah, we know who it is now.
That's cool. So what do you got in the vault this time?
Oh, I'm going first.
We're just changing it up.
Yeah, so I had a few things that crossed my mind, but we've talked about all of them. This movie puts me in mind of Calabrese, but I've already recommended them. Puts me in mind of The Terminator and Aliens, but on our previous podcast, we did whole episodes on those, which that's still in your feed. You should go back and listen to them.
And you can find it on this YouTube channel.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, okay, I need something else that I haven't talked about. And so thinking still of horror punk bands, I was reminded of the band Balzac. Which is a Japanese horror punk band.
And didn't they just get a new member from Blitzkid?
No, that's
other way around.
That's Calabrese.
Oh, yeah, my bad. Same band.
Yeah, no. Balzac is formed in 1992 in Kyoto, Japan. And this is a little reductive, but it's easy for people to understand. They're the Japanese Misfits. That is who they are, and it is what they do, and they've been doing it since the 90s, or really actively professionally since the early 2000s.
Nice.
And they're in this modern era, you don't have to go hunting for import vinyl and CDs. Everything is online, so Balzac is very available. They're coming up on the 20th anniversary of their album Came Out of the Grave. And they're celebrating that this summer with some live shows.
Ooh, anywhere near us?
Oh, no. These are shows in Tokyo and Osaka.
Oh.
Yeah, so...
No, not going to make that.
Yeah, not easy for most of the cultists to get to, unless you just happen to be overseas this summer.
Or you're just rolling like that.
Yeah, you're going to fly out there to see them. They're just a lot of fun. Like if you're into that sort of thing, the Misfits, the horror punk thing, it's got all of your vocal melodies, your whoa whoa whoas, your horror themed imagery, and it's also like the Misfits. They are heavily merchandised. They have a lot of gear, lots of vinyl, and they do collectible toys in multiple colorways every time. Like they have like a skull face mascot similar to the Misfits, and they've done just a million vinyl figures of this guy. So if you are that sort of person that likes collecting shit to go with the bands you like, Balzac has you covered heavily. Like lots of vinyl toys, lots of clothes. They've got a whole clothing shop in Tokyo called Shocker, just of their horror punk themed clothing line. And so I think Balzac for Cultists is a pretty cool band to check out, and they're on Spotify and all the places you stream music.
Nice.
What about you? What are you pulling out of the vault?
All right, so I was trying to think. Like, I want campy old vampire stuff.
Okay.
But I've talked a lot about different vampire things. So this time I'm going to go to an anime that I like.
Oh.
2001's Hellsing.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you've watched it, but the main character is Alucard, which is, of course, Dracula backwards. It's really fun. It's a great, enjoyable vampire anime that's it's over the top. It's almost superhero-ish, but it's kind of cheesy vampire-ish, kind of in the spirit of Vampire Hunter D, but maybe not quite as dark.
It's more modern than Vampire Hunter D, right?
Oh yeah, it came out in 2001.
The setting.
Oh yeah,
the setting
for sure. Yeah, there's a character with a gun, a big huge gun, and everything. So that was pretty cool, but the original 13-episode run did not really follow the manga at all. It was in the setting with the same characters, but it didn't have the story. So in 2005, a new series, 10 episodes called Hellsing Ultimate came out that is much more faithful to the anime or to the manga. It's pretty much better. And since both properties are Funimation, that means they're both watchable on Crunchyroll, which if you're an anime person, you probably have Crunchyroll.
Yeah. Isn't Crunchyroll going away, though? Or right?
I don't know. Was it getting rolled into something, or I don't know.
I'm not really sure. I'm not super on the anime.
Yeah, Carrie's the one that manages the Crunchyroll and all of that.
Yeah, there's some big controversy though, because stuff is going away that people have purchased digitally.
Ooh.
Yeah, and
Well, everything you think you purchased digitally, you didn't.
yeah, it's an illusion.
You borrowed it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there's one more tale on this.
Okay.
So in March of 2021, it was announced that Amazon Studios had picked up the IP and was developing a live-action film adaptation of Hellsing. And it's not just from some nobody hack. The writer and the person who's developing it is Derek Kolstad. Does that ring a bell? The creator of John Wick.
Oh,
Yeah, the one who wrote the entire franchise. And
that's interesting.
Yeah, so they got Derek Kolstad, writer of John Wick, picked up Hellsing, and it's in development.
For Amazon.
For Amazon, as a movie, not a series.
Okay, not interesting.
So I'm down. Like I didn't even know that until
you were looking
till
at
I was like, what cheesy vampire shit do I want to talk about? And I was like, oh yeah, Hellsing was awesome.
Yeah.
And then I did a little deep dive on Hellsing, and I saw it, and I found this, and I was like, that is awesome. So if you want just like a fun, it's only 13 episodes for the first series, and then 10 for the ultimate. It's easy. It's an easy watch.
And that's on Crunchyroll?
Yeah, they're short. It's not hard to get through that. I recommend that to any of the cultists out there who like anime, and like most nerds like anime, or at least are okay with anime. So that's what I've got. And we'd like to thank you for joining the Nightshade Cult.
Until we meet again, we're wishing you unpleasant